4-2. It felt like it was a lot closer than that. Went into extra time actually, so scored the late goal to equalise at 2-2. But at the end of the day, if I win these games, I look at it as a bonus. I don't look at it as goal achieved or anything like that. So if I can have that type of attitude, then I've got a feeling, because I've never used to do that. I've got a feeling that like I could probably like achieve better, maybe. It just really depends. How the results will tell its tale. But 11 wins is on average is what I normally would get in the Champions League, FUT Champions League. So if I can get 11 wins, I'm on like 6 wins at the moment. So and I've got like 7 games left. It just depends. I think I've got 7 wins actually. Anyway. If I can get close to 11 wins, I'll be happy, because I'm not working as hard. I'm not using my my ego's not getting bashed because I'm not invested in it, but I'm still performing. So it's just weird. If I could like continue like that, then there is obviously a room for improvement there, because I only just started doing this recently, like in the last few games, only a couple of days. But time will tell. Seems like this guy's switched on, so most of them are anyway. No, it's no easy game in Champions League. It's ridiculous to say that there would be an easy game. Anyway, when there's more prizes, there's more competition, and it's more ruthless. And then if you use your own emotion, it's even more self-destructive. So I guess I'm actually making less mistakes as well, believe it or not. So I'm not, because I'm complaining less. And due to complaining less, I'm concentrating more. I'm using that energy to concentrate. It's almost like you only have a certain amount of energy. And if you split it, things that are not so important, you end up not performing as well, because you're spending your energy on things that don't matter. You have to stay in the present, in the moment. And I guess if you're in the moment, you get to make split-second decisions more accurately. It's different way of thinking, different mindset. But at the end of the day, it's not just me, it's also the other player as well. So it depends how he looks at the game as well. It all adds to the experience of both of us, and also it could be detrimental to him if he takes it the wrong way. Like, for example, this miss, he could probably be like looking at it, and he could be defeating himself right now even more than what it actually is, making a bigger deal of it than it is. Like, whatever, as long as you are happy with what you're looking at, that's really all that matters. If you're happy with losing, there's a huge up for you then. who in the right I've never met a person who will be like happy that they're losing. That will be intriguing to see someone who's just like not happy about losing, but like happy about the fact that he's learned something even though he's lost. If you could like make that part of your second nature, that you'd never see a loss, you always take something out of it. Like it's easier said than done. It's always better to make it part of who you are. So then what happens then is you won't be you would take more risks, and you get to explore different options because you just don't have that ability to safeguard. But then it's, in real life, it's not, you'll be making a lot of mistakes and doing a lot of, you could actually do more damage to yourself by, not worrying about losing stuff, you have to be careful how you do things. But that's why video games are good, because you can take risks and explore that realm of, for example, if the game is really tense and you go and close yourself in and then you lose, or you close yourself in and you win, or you open yourself up and again you lose, and then you open yourself up and then you also win. You have to look at all those outcomes and go, okay, explore those options and go, what's the easier route for myself, like internally. If let's say I win and I've opened myself up and I'm like playing full attacking strategy, and like I don't care about losing and I end up winning, that kind of attitude, careless attitude, and you lose, and then also careless attitude and you win, and let's say the percentages of both of those strike rate is the same, then which one's more fun? I would guess, and which one's more cooler? I guess the careless attitude is more attractive. It has to be. In my eyes, like if you just like, you don't care about the result but you end up winning, I think that's a pretty cool, relaxed attitude to have, because it's less of a burden for you, less expectation as well. And also you get to worry less. Oh, what could have been, should have been, this kind of effect. It's also interesting. It's a very interesting way of looking at things that normally people will stress out about. If you're keen to win and you desperately want it, the chances are pretty high that you'll lose. Why? Because you're tense. You're not in the zone. You can only be in the zone if you have the relaxed attitude. So you can't ask for something in a stressful way. So let's say if you're fully tense and you ask someone for a favor and you're fully tense and angry looking, chances are you'll get knocked back. So I've got a feeling that's the same with anything. Anything, like whether it be doing a task and you ask yourself, I want to perform, but you're tense, the chances are pretty high that you will not perform. But then on the outside, it might look like you're not trying hard enough, and that's the downside to it. It might look like you're not trying. But you're actually performing. So if you're performing, no one cares. But let's say if you're a relaxed attitude, but you're losing, then you'll get bad feedback. That's just the way it is. So then you have to then take that on board and try to deal with that because of your because you're not performing. But it takes time. It takes time to achieve. It takes time to achieve. I don't want to say goals, but it takes time to achieve whatever greatness, for example. It's not, it doesn't happen overnight. So you have to be persistent, and you have to keep at it, and you have to, ignore negative feedback for a while until you build momentum. So no one's going to come up to you and say, hey, you're not performing, ignore the feedback. I'm more of a constructive feedback type of person, not negative or positive, but constructive feedback. So instead of saying, you're not performing, we need to do something about it, but you're not telling that person what they need to do, set some parameters, or and if you do set parameters, for example, you have to work out if that's actually worth it, if that's something that person is fully on board with that. So there's so many aspects to constructive feedback, and that's why a lot of people just go, it's too hard. I don't have enough time for that. And that's where, things can go wrong. And that's why this type of feedback is only internal feedback. Like, it's something that you should be working on yourself. It's not something that is something that you could train someone else to do. It's more of a feedback for yourself. So constructive feedback to yourself instead of someone else. So all this is basically not training someone else. It's training your mind. So you are dealing with your own mind. Because mind talks, and you don't have the ability to switch it off. It just does its own thing, and you need to keep your mind, and a lot of people say keep your mind quiet so you can get things done, or it's more like understand what it's telling you, and then you can switch it off if you're able to communicate to your mind, and it's almost like another person, and tell it, I understand what you're saying, without having a conversation, but feeling it. It's all about to feel. If you're thinking about something, and pops into your head, there is a reason why. So extra time again. So I've got extra time, two games in a row. It's fine. So if in your mind you have to understand why something is popped in your head. So you don't have to go too deep into it, but you just have to feel it. The feeling is what matters. It's not the communication. It's, you know, it's also when you're talking to someone, you know, it's how you say it that matters. It's not so much the what the communication is about or whatever. You know, if you say to someone, you know, go and do something for me, but if there is a please next to it, for example, or but that please sounds annoying, then it's just not good enough. So there's so many different ways of tackling a particular situation, and if the person's doing it just because, might as well not do it, because it's not worth the damage that person's going through. Their ego is getting, bashed. Is not something that should be. It's not worth the effort, because the ego is an animal that is a diehard. Has the diehard attitude, and that's not something you can defeat, and you shouldn't be trying to defeat it. It's there for survival, and it needs to be. Ego needs to be trained that it's okay to lose, or it's okay to have a sense of loss. It's part of nature. It's everywhere. And it's something that we have to get used to, but we have to understand that there's always something to gain with every loss. Not many people learn much from winning, because they just take the rewards and the prizes, the spoils, and then leave and forget about it. But with the loss, they usually go back and think about how to get it done better. They dwell on it, and then usually they carry their emotions and their baggage with it too, which it all comes in the package. So if you go back in the past and you dwell on something, you usually carry quite a lot of emotion with it as well. So there's a lot of baggage, and that's how it gets you, and which then affects your everyday, present, daily life, and it affects your mood. It can affect, without you knowing, it can affect more than just your mood. And it usually turns out to be not the best feeling to have. That, weighing down on you. But at the end of the day, if you stop having fun, there's a reason for it. The fun is really, it's a very complicated, you call it, whatever you want to call it, pyramid or whatever, on how fun becomes fun. Everything has to work out. Your feelings have to be right. Your emotion has to be the right amount, levels. You have to have you have to have scored the goal in the last seconds of the game again. Looks like it's going to be penalties. You have to have your mind has to be right as well. So your mind has to want to do the job. So everything has to be ticked off for you to have something that's called fun. So yeah, so I've just missed this penalty and I'm thinking, oh, that's not fun, and I've just saved, so back to square one. And I'm in leading now, so you know, if you look at it from that perspective, you know, that's fun, but you know, the game's still going, so and he's scored now as well, so and then he's saved now, so it's just a roller coaster. You know, if you put your emotions into it, you would just never be happy. And now I've saved too, so it's back to square one again. So it's really you just have to put your mind into it, but disconnect your emotions, and then you don't care about the outcome. You just don't. So if he misses this, I win. So you know, it will happen whatever it's meant to happen. It doesn't matter. I saved. Huh, easy. So just narrow win all the way at the end in penalties. But at the end of the day, I'm not making a big deal out of it. He lost, I won. You know, it could have been the other way easily. At the end of the day, balance it out with your mind and don't get too emotional about the win or the loss. Because at the end of the day, you know, it's out of your control. You know, the penalty shootout that I just won was nothing special. You know, if I was able to score every single time and he missed every single time, then, you know, there's something else at play. Who's the man of the match here? Jeez, Cafu, right back, and he got subbed out. Did he get subbed out? No, he didn't get subbed out. So why is he man of the match? Dribbling success rate, 18 dribbles, 94% accuracy. That's pretty high. 22 passes at 100%. Wow. It would be nice to buy this right back. It's too expensive. What else is he? Was he good at? 27 passes beaten and 100% accuracy. Wow. 8.6. Henry scored 3 goals and that wasn't good enough. And this guy's had 1 assist due to a huge amount of passes. Alright. Cafu is the man of the match. So yeah, so I'll take this win and, you know, more likely I'll lose the next one, but we'll see how we go. Sign out.